Thing. We will get started. Heather, my new glasses came, by the way. I like them much better. They're bigger, so I feel like I can see like out of my, thank you. I knew you would. I actually got two pairs. These are like a lighter kind of color, and then I got the darker color too, but they are I like them being a little bit bigger because I can kind of see. Karen, I like your glasses too. I feel like they've kind of become an accessory. Once you need them, you might as well just get cute ones. Okay, you all. Let me do this just so I can kind of get a gauge for Karen. Oh my gosh. Her hair appointment's Friday. I love it. Let me get a gauge of will you just type in the chat yes or no if you attended the in-person business planning clinic? Because that'll kind of gauge me on how I want to take this today. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. I know I don't think Julie would not have since she's in New Jersey. Margaret, yes. Okay. Okay. So, one thing I really wanted to do today is focus on really explaining the GPS. I also wanted to go through a couple of my notes. I wanted to start first by going through a couple of my notes from being in Austin week before last, and share a few things. Let's see. Oh, you got it. Okay. Share a few things from that. Just a couple things I've been learning a little bit in the last week, and then I want to go in and talk about the GPS and really nail that down, because if there was one thing that you should have nailed for next year, it would be your GPS. If you are, by the way, that's weird. There's three of me on here. No clue how. Heather. I don't know who the other one is, but that's funny. Okay, that's okay. If you have your GPS 100% done and it's 100, it's complete, it's 100% done. Will you just type yes or give me a thumbs up or something in the chat? And if you're still working on it, then I'm gonna go through a lot of that today. Darian, I haven't seen yours, I don't think. I'd love to see your final one, by the way. If you do have a final one, email it to me because I would love to see. I like to collect them. Thank you. And go through them. But okay, I'm gonna get started first with a few of the things that I learned from Gary Keller last week in Austin. And then I'll move into the 1 through 5. So a couple of things that Gary said is we sometimes think that unless we're in a leadership role, meaning that you are, and you hold a titled position as a leader, that you are not a leader. And I loved what Gary actually said last week, which was every single person in the real estate business is a leader because you are actually leading the people that are in your database, that are in your sphere, that are in your community. And so every single one of us should be thinking of ourselves as a leader. He said, are you authentic enough to have people follow you to be a leader, especially in your business? So are you authentic enough that people want to follow you, meaning they, in this situation for you guys, meaning they want to buy houses from you, they want to list with you, they want to use you for their real estate transactions. They are you authentic enough for them to follow you? Gary said that every single day we should be examining our relationships and judging them hard, meaning we really need to be, especially next year. Remember, you guys, consumers are not as loyal as they used to be. So we need to be examining all the relationships that we're in and judging them hard. He gave the example, by the way, and I love this. And I wish that Adam got me an iPad for Christmas last year, like a really good, nice, the new one with the keyboard, with the pen and everything. I lost it 2 days after Christmas. Never could find it the entire year. I found it yesterday. No exaggeration. I found it cleaning out a bag in the bottom of my closet. So I lost my calendar, but I found the iPad for Christmas from last year. So Adam's getting ready to figure out how to get me hooked up where I can draw on here, draw on my iPad, and then it'll go to my Zoom like how Adam does if you've ever been on one of his coaching calls. But I don't have that set up yet. But so I'll just draw it with my finger. So Gary talked about the way that we need to think about running our businesses next year. And some of you have teams, some of you are on teams, some of you are individual agents. So this is going to apply to everybody. He said, if you think about it like a check mark, I don't even actually know if you'll be able to see this. Can you see that like at all? Okay. Okay. That's good. Let me see if I can blow it. He said, if you think about it as a check mark, he said, you start with it going up like this. You start with an individual. And he said, there are a lot of individuals that can have great success. Like they can be an individual, they can achieve great success. They do things on their own, they do it their own way, and that'd be great. Then you get to a point where you need a little bit of leverage. And he said at that point, what most people think are that they become a team. Okay. Well, he actually says there's a difference between a group and a team. A group is just individuals that are together that have no systems, they have no plan, they follow no GPS, they're airy fairy about stuff. They're not really a team, they're not bought into the same goals, they're just a group. As opposed to having a team, and by the way, when you're just a group, you actually are less productive than you are as an individual. So you really could go down in your business. You might have been better off just to be on your own than to put some people together that aren't really in alignment, because then you're just considered a group. You are a team when everybody is rolling in the right direction. Everybody is bought into the models and systems. Everyone is bought into the goals. You are a team. And then at the very, very top, he said, and then there are really high performing teams. And so he said, the goal for all of us should be such that we are a part of, if you are not an individual, like if you're still an individual, awesome. And you could stay that forever and be highly successful. But if you're to the point where you are building a team or you have a team, he said, know the difference between a high performing team and a regular team, and then note to yourself that you don't want to be a group in anything. Like he said, you never want to be a group. You always want to be a team or a high performing team. And he said that we just need to make sure that we know the difference between that, because your business will never exceed your character. And he said his definition of character is when your talk matches your walk. And so he said you have to really understand the difference of those two things, because he said at the same time, leadership knows no position. Which I know I think Dylan jumped on, but Dylan, I was like, we need t-shirts that say that for next year. Leadership knows no position, with our logo on there. Absolutely love that. I think that's so good.
Say that again. What was the exact saying?
He's like, what do we need for next year? Gary said this, and I thought, oh my gosh, we need a t-shirt with this on it, with our logo. Leadership knows no position. In other words, like Heather and Steph will love this, but like people that are around you don't say that's not my job, or that's somebody else's job, or like I'm not responsible. No, like leadership knows no position. Whether you're leading at the top or you got to go in and take out the trash one day, like leadership knows no position. I just thought that was so good. A couple of more quick things, and then I'll get into the GPS. Gary said a lot of what we need to think about next year is really getting back into trainings and teaching. I love that all of you all are on here. But as things start to change, and one of our commitment, by the way, if you're in one of my market centers, is next year, getting our training calendar really high level value. They gave us this list, which is so good for agents. And we're going to be sharing this with our calendar next year. But it basically says, these are your problems in your business, then here's the training solution for those. And you should be able to get a quick answer, because we are, honestly, you all, nobody has more training or better training than KW, period. I mean, nationally, we've been recognized. But if your business problem right now is focus and time management, then you need to read and master and learn the one thing. If your business problem right now is you don't have enough listings, then you need to get to bold or win with sellers as quickly as you can. Win with sellers is going to be one that I'm actually going to teach next year and get a couple people to go in on. I used to teach it all the time. It was such a great class. If you are worried, if your business problem right now is your pending sales aren't closing for some reason, then you need to be studying shift and the different tactics in shift number 7, shift number 11, tactics. I mean, because something's going on there. If you are needing to understand the value that you possess as an agent, then you need to get to value squared. There's so many, all of these business problems, there are the training solutions that provide those. And so I would encourage you all, while you're working on your GPS, by the way, for those of you that have not finished, make training your training should be a part of that. I mean, it should be attend certain number of events, or make sure that you're understanding and getting in the classes that you need to get into. And if you don't know, then ask me and I'm happy to help you. But okay, I wanted to share with you all a couple of examples of some GPSs. And I blocked out, I just think for me, by the way, seeing examples is like one of the most useful things. And by the way, some of these like may not be perfect, but I just thought we might run through and give you guys some examples. And I want to re-go through a GPS and talk about the importance of it. We have one for each of the brokerages. I have one personally. I know Teresa already made hers personally. I think Dylan has made his personally. Like everyone needs a GPS. And if you were in the business planning clinic, you know that I said, the GPS, by the way, stands for goals, priorities, and strategies. This is the first one I'm going to show you is for an individual unit. This is an agent that I coached and that has a great individual agent business in one of our offices. And I blocked out their name, but I think it because I didn't have time to ask them for permission to share, which I'm sure that she would not care if I shared. But the purpose of the goals, priorities, and strategies is you have one big goal for the year. Then there are 3 priorities that lead up to you hitting that goal. And then the 5 strategies that you will do in each of the priorities, meaning they're all measurable. You'll be able to say, it's not just touch my clients more. No, it's like how many, when, what kind of touches. You can look at the square and say either, yes, I did that, or no, I did not. And here's how we measured it to see if it was successful. This is truthfully, I think, one of the better ones. And I think this agent actually hit the goal or got really freaking close to it this year. And honestly, this agent had a ton of personal stuff going on too. Yes, absolutely. I can. So the first one, her big goal was a unit goal of 55 units sold as an individual agent. You'll see how she can hit 55 above the 36, which is the norm according to the MREA, because her second priority is leverage. So I'll walk you through that. But in order to hit 55 units sold, the first one, which some of these, by the way, I challenged her on to make them measurable. But the first one is elevated marketing and more visibility. Her second one is leverage, and her third one is client care and database management. So all the ones that are the strategies are measurable. I would encourage you to get a little more specific with the 1, 2, and 3, but she wanted to do more general, broad categories. And because her strategies were so specific and measurable, then I was okay with that. So for example, to elevate her marketing and get more visibility in order to do 55 units, number 1 was tracking clicks, inquiries with tags to measure social leads, more robust ads, and get into YouTube ads. So that's very measurable. You can measure the tracks and clicks. She can do more ads. If you wanted to take that a step further, I probably would have said, 1 ad a week or 2 ads a month running or somewhat. Remember, the more specific and measurable you can get these, the more likely you are to actually do them. Because if you have to think a lot about it, and I know you all, and come March, April, May, when everything's nuts, if it's not super easy and specific, you're gonna forget about it and you're not gonna do it. The second one, schedule marketing on a bi-weekly basis, posting 3 times per week, 1 video per week. This one is very measurable. Reels, stories, and YouTube. Number 3, open house on each listing with more marketing and signage. I would define what more is, by the way. Video, which she kind of did. Video each day leading up to the open house. Meet neighbors, video while at open house, and follow up immediately with buyers. I remember actually talking to her about making sure every time she did an open house that she got on Facebook and Instagram and just did a quick video walkthrough, just to make herself more visible. Number 1, which is increasing her number 1 priority, more visibility. And because it's marketing, right? It's just getting yourself out there. Perception is reality. Find a lender partner to help with marketing and feed that relationship. I'm big on this one, you all. I think we have so many great lender partners in all of our brokerages. That would be, remember what Gary said about your relationships. That's one of them too. Examine your relationships and judge them hard. I really would challenge all of you to examine your lender partnerships and relationships and make sure it's not just a one-way street where you're sending them, several pieces of business, and maybe not really getting anything from that. That would be one I would examine. And then number 5, farm 2 areas with monthly sends and gifts, maybe an event for those areas. You could get a little more specific on that one, but the measurable is, did she farm 2 areas every single month, basically? And with whatever they were, okay, but did she do it twice a month? So if all of those 5 strategies should lead up to be able to mean that you would 100% hit your number one priority, which would feed into your big goal, 55 units. If you have any questions, just type them in the chat. So number 2, leverage. I think this is great. A TC starting in January on every transaction, systems in place to monitor until I'm comfortable. So this agent did start with our in-house and still uses our in-house transaction management company through the One Team. I will tell you all, and she would tell you this because she sent me so many great testimonials, but it was the game changer for her to be able to hit her unit amount, was to leverage the transaction management. No salary, she can pay for it every time she has a closing, and it just comes right out, and she does not have to do the paperwork. This is something that, this isn't we brought this just to our offices, just to be a leverage source for our agents. And it really has helped so many. I mean, her business grew last year because of it. So that was a challenge that I gave her. She did that, and it really, really, really helped her. And I can't imagine her not continuing with transaction management. Build out personal assistant tasks to take more off of my schedule, more hands off. She already had a lady that was helping her 1 or 2 days a week, I think, or a few hours a week, but she did come up with much more of a task list so that she could do more. Videographer and social media manager, someone to evaluate brand and tweak my current systems, use automations more often, and then buyer's agent hired for showings and inspections without losing client relationship. So that all of those are pieces of leverage that will enable her to still be able to focus on the listings and hit the 55 units sold. And then the third one is client care and database management. Better tagging and be able to send targeted and more personalized content. That needs to be a little bit more measurable. The second one is very measurable, 4 large client events, and she already knows which one she's going to do, when she's going to do them. And then she can market around that. A bi-weekly newsletter, 4 giveaways. Each address gets 1 handwritten letter per year. Very measurable. Either she did it or she didn't do it type thing. That's going to lead to major client care and database management. Set up on journeys through CRM, explore more automations for more touches. That's basically setting up the smart plans and taking better notes for new leads, revisiting entire database. And you can kind of see database health check quarterly. I love the database health check quarterly. That's a huge opportunity for most of us. I would say, truthfully, every one of you needs to have some sort of a goal of the next monumental number in your database that you need to get to. Like, if you don't have 500 contacts in your database, you need to get to 500. If you don't have 1,000, you need to get to 1,000. Like, you need to get to really as many as quickly as you can. And when we really call them a contact, y'all, they are name, address, phone number, email address, like, are the must-haves. And then anything else that you can get information on them for, you want to get that. But remember the numbers I gave you in the business planning clinic. It used to be you needed 1,290 contacts with full information touched 36 times a year to be able to be an MREA agent, a millionaire real estate agent. That number has definitely increased. I think it's more like 3,000. I don't have the notes in front of me, but it's increased. So it really is a numbers game. It's going to be growing your database as much as you can, and being able to be in contact with those people as much as you can also. This is another one. This is a little bit larger one, but I wanted to just make sure that I shared this one too, because you may get some ideas on here. And I think this was a team in the region from 2020, but there were some good things on here that I wanted to show you. So this is for a team that wanted to hit 1.5 million in GCI that year. Their priorities were hire 2 agents, priority number 2, increase closings by 10% from Sphere referral past clients, and then brand awareness. Oh yeah, this was the Kellyanne Harris's team in 2020. So grow brand awareness. And then you can see how they had the 5 strategies in each one, a little bit different layout, but they're very measurable. And I like that a lot. On the hiring new agents, I liked the increased closings from 10%. They were doing that by making quarterly calls to their sphere of influence, past and present clients, and ask for their business. But remember, the calls are just the quickest way. And so if you can do those quarterly, that's going to help a lot. Same as the last one, hold 4 client events. Really, quarterly client events need to be a minimum, even if they're just micro events. And I know some of you all have gotten really great at the micro events. I think I saw Lindsay Wagers on. I can't see who's on now, but I know some of y'all have done some of the smaller client events and had great success, especially if you have, you know, not as many people in your database where, you know, you might not have 300 or 400 people show up to a client event. That's okay, because I think they're saying if you can get 30, you know, 30 together at a time, 20 to 30, and really be one-on-one with those people, the statistics on those are going up, up, up. 42 touch campaign. So in 2020, they were at a 42 touch. I think now Kelly's team's at a 250 plus touch. Promote all new listings, open houses, reductions across all team members' personal social media pages. This is a big one too. I know a lot of you guys, you know, we even do some of your social media on your team pages, but making sure that everybody is sharing that stuff is going to be really, really important. Dylan and I even talked about that. I can't think that was this morning. Gosh, Dylan, now I feel like that was yesterday because we talked so early, but we even talked about even on the staff, when we share stuff from the legacy group page, like all of the staff members sharing and, you know, everybody being on the same page in the ALC and promoting, but the more people you can share, the better. And then they must have been implementing special Perk Your Sphere for referrals. You all, let me look this up really fast. I swear, I feel like, has anybody, I feel like Stephanie has anybody done Perk Your Sphere before, the book? Perk Your Sphere real estate book. Next year might be a great, yep, there it is. Next year might be a great year for you, for some of you, especially those of you that are individual agents or smaller teams, to go back, read this book. And I'm trying to put it in the chat, but hold on a second. I've got too many tabs open. Have a copy, may need to dust it off. Shenandoah. Yep, that's right. There you guys go. There's the link. This might be the year that some of you all need to go back, find your Perk Your Sphere book, or reorder it for like $10, whatever this price is. It's super cheap on Amazon, and really hone into your targeted VIPs. That's what this book is all about, and really lead generate to them. Liz is a KW agent, and she had tremendous success as an individual agent by doing this model of this book. And she basically, I think it says on here, she had, a 15-to-1 return on investment in an industry where a 4-to-1 ROI is amazing. And it was all from leaning into her VIPs. She talks about in here, yep, I love this. Is the sentence I say all the time. This is where I got this. I stole it from Liz. They won't make you just a realtor for your clients, but the realtor to your clients. And remember, now that they know 6 instead of 3 off the top of their head, they becoming the is increasingly more important. And it's really going to be the difference maker. I wanted to re-pull back up this slide for y'all, because the question would be, are you in touch enough with your database and your sphere of influence that you know when they're having a baby, they're getting married, they're getting divorced, they're turning 65, you know, someone is getting ready to pass away or did pass away, they're switching jobs, you know, whatever that looks like. Remember, all of these people are pent up sellers that are going to have to sell in the next 12 to 24 months. And so the question really becomes, you know, they're going to use a realtor, but are you going to be the realtor to them? So you just have to be in contact with them enough to be able to know that. I did want to make sure that we hit, is it this one or this one? Nope, it's this one. Sorry. Here we go. Yeah. That we hit this slide one more time too. I would love for some of y'all to have one of your strategies to be reaching out to your clients with maybe a free market analysis, a free CMA, to let them know how much equity they could potentially have in their home. And are they going to let their money make them money next year? Are they planning on investing? Would they, if the right deal came along, would you be interested in your first rental property or in a rental property? So yeah, I mean, I think I had a note. I was trying to find my note on that. This is one that I think is very important. This would be a great slide for you guys to screenshot, take it from the book, or the PDF that Heather emailed. I think almost all of you guys, if you don't have it, just shoot me an email and we can get it. But this would be a great slide for you all to even be sending to some of your people in your sphere and just say, hey, in Kentucky, did you know that the average homeowner has 50% equity in their home right now this year. Could that be true for you? So making sure that you're using that at a really high level is really, really, really important. And then I wanted to go back really quickly to the one sheet. I just really want to encourage you all to take the time, and I wanted to see if there's any questions on these, and curious in the chat if anybody's worked on this yet, but take the time to really go through and set your financial goals for next year. What are your top 5 highlights? What would you love to be able to do next year? What are your top 5 bucket list items? What are your health goals? Your top 2 goals in each of these categories. I gave you a couple of different sheets to do that, but I know sometimes during the holidays, we get a little bit of downtime. And I think most of you know this, but Adam and I take from the 26th until the 5th, the day after Christmas until January 5th. And we go to Florida and we take the kids and we hang out with Adam's mom and our family, and we just plan. We really reflect and on this year, and we prepare for next year. And it's so great. In fact, you guys, I just took a part of my John Maxwell mentorship program was a Zoom last week, and Mark Cole shared his year-end review process. And you guys, wow, it is intense. Actually, since we have a couple extra minutes here, I'll share. I don't have like a slide to share, but I'll share a couple of these with you just for anybody that's interested. But he basically takes 48 hours and he goes extreme. He does a fast with it. He goes away. He doesn't take his spouse or his assistant or his family, like nobody. He does it by himself for 48 hours. But he focuses on 5 different pillars. And then he has what he called 3 support beams in each pillar. But he focuses on his personal life, his personal development. I mean, his family, his financial, his calling, like what his calling is, and then his community. And he basically takes the first 24 hours to go over everything from 2024. So like his calendar, his financials, did he hit his goal? John Maxwell actually goes back and looks at every single person or group that he spoke for in 2024. He goes on his calendar. He looks at every single person or group that he spoke for. He writes their name on a legal pad. When he said this, I was like, dear Lord, please let our name, mine and Adam's name, be on the plus side. He said he goes through the list and he says, did I get value from speaking for them? Did it give me energy? Did it fill me up? Did it help fulfill my calling? And he's like, if the answer is no, then I don't speak for them anymore. Or, I put them off my list. If the answer is yes, he said, then I know that that's something that I want to keep on my calendar in the future. And that kind of sounds harsh, but I'm like, man, that's so smart. Because why would you just keep doing something that's not giving you energy or wasting your time or you're not getting a return on? So he reflects on the first 24 hours and then he completely just prepares and plans in day 2 for the next 48 hours. But then he said that if he has an extra half day on day 3, he spends 2 or 3 or 4 hours in action, meaning like he goes ahead and puts into action the things that are on the plan. So he said, for instance, like if he reflects on his financials and then he has financial goals for the next year, he goes ahead and makes an action item of touching base with his financial planner, his wealth advisor, and his CPA, and says, hey, here's where we ended last year. Either it was great, let's do it again, or it's not, and here's my income goal for next year. Here's help me with some ideas on things that either I can write off or ways I can increase or whatever. And so he goes ahead and puts into action, and like he'll set a appointment with them in his calendar. He said if he's planning, a health goal, then the action item is he goes ahead and time blocks in his calendar when he's going to walk. He goes ahead and figures out, what his meal situation is going to be or his supplement. I mean, you just go ahead and like get some sort of an action item done on those things. And I thought that is so good. In the plan in place, he said, what will you do daily, weekly, monthly to work the plan? He said, this is the magic. Text people to see if they will mentor you, put things in your calendar, and notify the important people in that category. This is the magic where the stuff gets done. You have to actually get into the action. And I'm like, man, that's just so smart because we can set these goals. And I know, we've all been guilty of this at some point. But then how often are we looking at them? I actually loved this idea too. Dylan, you'll like this. Heather already is this for me basically, but he has a personal advisory council that looks at his calendar and his plans and kind of advises him and like points out his blind spots, he said, basically. And so if someone, wants him to do something, he said it goes through his wife, Linda, his assistant, and like 2 other people that were on his personal advisory board. And then they're like, yeah, I think that's a great plan, or no, here's the blind spots, or like, you're way too busy, you're overcommitting, you don't need to do that. Like he said, he kind of defends it. And I was like, man, I think that is so good. Even if it's just like one person to help you with that. But he said, really think about intentionality. If you're a business owner next year, how can you be intentional with your clients? Just so much really good stuff. If you want just a couple, I'll give you just a couple more questions. He said on the reflecting part, he said, you should always ask yourself what worked, what failed, what should be repeated, what should I discontinue, what's not working, and maybe what should I attempt again? Like maybe you attempted a certain database touch, or you attempted a strategy and for, whatever reason, it just wasn't the right timing, but it might necessarily mean that you need to scrap it all together. You may actually need to attempt it again. And then for the preparing for the next year, what areas do I really need focus in? Where do I actually want to see momentum? And then how will I know that I succeeded in 2025, and be very specific. And Karen, intentionality. I love it. Love that. Such a great word. Yeah. If you guys, does anybody else have their word for the year? I'm curious for 2025. Would love to know if you guys have it. I haven't picked mine yet. Probably do it after Christmas because my brain has to unwind for me to be able to think about it. But highly encourage you to definitely pick a word of the year next year so that you can focus on that. And then last thing really fast, and then we're going to finish a little early. Oh, wait, Darian, systematic. You can definitely not go wrong with systematic. That is a great word. And I love that because remember your natural, I'm not talking to you, Darian, I'm talking to all of us. Your natural talents can only get you so far without the systems. You'll hit a ceiling. You can only go so far without the models and systems. Last thing I just wanted to share with you is remember this sheet. Let me zoom out on it a little bit in case you want to take a screenshot, but you should have it. The one on the left. Remember that 82% of our business comes from 4 sources or less. So I really want to challenge y'all, and really number 1 should be SOI, but I really, really want to challenge y'all. Oh, okay. I'll give you those pillars one more time. I really want to challenge you all to take a good look at your sources and think about if you need to add one for next year. This is the list of all the lead generation activities. This is the new 2024, September 2024 updated list of prospecting, marketing, and both. I would challenge you all to definitely have some that are, okay, Heather, sounds good. Thank you. I would challenge you all to have some that are in the both category for sure. Obviously, your sphere, your past clients. Remember, open houses are back with a bang. Major bang. They're going to continue to be, especially, they'll dull a little bit. They'll have a little bit of a decrease in the winter. It always happens. But as soon as we kind of break for a little bit of warmer weather, open houses will be back. But I want to challenge you guys to really look at this lead generation activity. Circle the ones, if you didn't already, or star or highlight that you're already actively doing in your business. And then really think about if you need to add another lead gen source. If you feel great about the ones you have, do you need to go deeper in one? Is this your year to really work FSBOs? Or do you already have a great source in FSBOs? Really thinking about these, you all, because if you can nail your main sources down, you won't run the risk, I guess I should say, of getting squirreled by a lot of other things. Like hone in on the ones that you're going to do, that you enjoy and that work for you. And look at those for next year. Okay, lastly, the pillars for that, the John Maxwell pillars really quickly. 1 is personal. 2 is family. 3 is financial. 4 is your calling, and 5 is community. And then he has the 3 support beams underneath. I'll give you those really fast just in case anybody wants them. I think this is super great. Adam and I are going to go through this on our little retreat. Under personal, his 3 pillars are self, health, and spiritual. So he looks at and assesses in order to have a great personal pillar. His 3 support beams are like, is his self growth really good? How is his health? And how is his spiritual life, his spirituality? Under family, he has his 3 support beams are his spouse, number 1, his immediate family, number 2, and his extended family, number 3. And he said it's because he had a goal to spend more time with his extended family. Excuse me. In financial, number 3, his 3 support beams are spend, save, and give. So he looks at how much is he spending, how much is he saving, and how much is he giving. And then under his calling is obviously like business development. So his 3 pillars are business plan, his business performance, and then his team. So, obviously you can't have a 10 dream with a 5 team. So looking at the people that are around him are really important. And then in community, his 3 pillars are his friends, his neighborhood. They're really deep in their neighborhood community. And then he said the 3rd one is the city that I love. Like for me, one of my communities would probably be church. But he said he's very involved in the city that he's in, because he loves his city. And so that's part of the community that he basically spends 24 hours assessing all of those. He said, like going over all of it, the lessons he learned, accomplishments in each one, failures in each one, and then what he needs to put into focus for the next year for the 5 pillars to be strong and to be able to say, okay, I had a great personal, I felt great about my personal, I felt great about my family, I felt great about my finances, my calling, and my community. You could change those, by the way, if there's something else that you're like, that's more important to me, or that one doesn't really make sense to me, or you may only want to have 3 pillars. But I just think it's so good to continue to review all of this and set goals in them. Really good. I'm just scanning my notes to see if there's like any crazy other big thing that I didn't tell you that he gave us. Oh, this was really good. Okay, this is the last thing. I know I keep saying that. The people that jumped off earlier are gonna be sad. Okay, this is the last thing. He said when he's looking at next year, he's thinking about 3 big things when he's doing his planning. Number 1 is the content that I'm going to consume. And I thought that one was great because I don't know if any of you all feel like this, but I feel like there is so much content to consume all the time, like books, podcasts, YouTube videos, training events, this, that, the other, and I'm a junkie because I want to consume it all. But at some point it's like, okay, what content am I going to actually consume? Which actually goes with number 2, which is the people that I allow to speak into me. And so are there, certain people that you really like to learn from? And so they're going to be people that you allow to speak into you, that you're going to consume the content from, because you're going to grow and get better. That was really good. And then number 3 was the experiences I plan to grow from that can make me better. Basically meaning like, what are the experiences that he's going to be looking into planning for next year that can make him, make him a better person, make him grow. And then he said, you should be asking yourself, what's one thing I can get out of this experience? With everything that you attend, anything that you do, what's one thing that you can get out of? And I think that's a great question to ask. So, okay, guys, that's all I have for you. Any questions? Feel free to unmute and ask, or you can type them in the chat. I was going to put in the chat really fast these GPS examples for you. So just one second and let me grab those. And if you have any questions, well, hold on, maybe. Yep, here's one. Oh no, wait, shoot, I'm sending it to Heather. Hold on. Let me put it in the group chat. Everyone in the meeting. There we go. Okay. Hopefully you guys will be able to open this. Here's the blank one for the individual agent. And then here is the 1.5 million GPS one. And if for some crazy reason you needed an extra copy or you did not get the business planning clinic PDF booklet, I am putting that one in there for you too. Oh, Darian, thank you. Perfect. I can't wait to see it. I will review that. I love to look at people's GPSs. Yes. And if you finish when you finish your GPS, I'd love to look at it. So shoot me over a copy and happy to help you guys or give you feedback or let you know if it's measurable or not. I have an eye for saying that's not measurable. Make it more specific. Any questions? No, we're good. Awesome. Okay. Action item is get your GPS done. And at least, you guys, at least find a day or two, if you can, to really go through and reflect and reflect on this year and plan for next year. I promise you, you'll be so happy that you did it if you've never done it before. It just sets your year up for success. I really promise you it does. And also for those of you that are on, that are people of faith, remember biblically, like giving the first of things is really important. And so you can give I always say, like, I'm going to give the first of my year to quiet time and to planning and to like listening, because it's very important. GPS is calendar blocked for Thursday. Melinda, so proud of you. Great job. Great job. All right, you guys, have a wonderful rest of your week. Have a Merry Christmas if I don't talk to you before then. And let me know if there's anything I can do to help. Thanks for being on. See you later.